Hello, my name is Caleb Robertson, and today I'd like to discuss my trip to the NOMA with my APR history class. Now, while there, we looked at different artworks from many different cultures, and afterwards, we picked one particular artwork and compared it to another artwork from a similar culture. One artwork I saw on the NOMA that really spoke to me was the crested helmet mask. This was made by the African culture, and the particular people that made this was the Kong people in Cameroon. The materials used to make this mask were wood, glass beads, and cloth. And what the people would do is they would combine the beads with the cloth and then place it on the wood base. Now, because of the particular pattern used in the mask, as you can see, the chevron and diamonds, they were able to place the time period of this mask being made in the latter part of the 20th century. Now, the different uses of the colors in the mask, combined with the coiffure, and combined with beads, can be shown that this mask is mainly worn by the higher elite of the society. This is because different colors show a sign of powerfulness because the ruler was able to contain this many different colors. And especially since this mask uses the color blue, which represents royalty itself. The coiffure also shows a sign of royalty in society. The beads also represent royalty because back then, at that point in time, beads were used as currency between African tribes. Now, if you look at the mask in different patterns, you can see that the color white is shown to draw attention to different places in the mask, such as the different whites that are used in the face, the eyes, the mouth, and the depictions on top of the coiffure. Now, the depictions are of a human and a crocodile, and we can assume from the black eyes and the depiction themselves that they were used to transcend into them, like they were transcend into the crocodile and human. And this combined with the fact the mask is made of wood, because in that society, wood was used as a way to easier to contain a vessel of human ancestors. That the mask was used as medicine mask, and medicine masks were worn to protect the owners and their country. And this further includes that the mask is generally worn by the elite and maybe even warriors, because the crocodile is used to represent aggression and strength, and this combined with the small teeth also shows another wave of aggression, which again could be used by warriors very differently. And another part I'd like to bring about the mask is the frayed edges, like on the ears and the neck. And this, although not intentional artwork, just shows how far the artwork has gone and how it's been preserved. But also, if you look at the whole artwork as a whole, you can tell the mask has been well preserved, and this means that it was very valuable to the culture, and their culture in African society was very valuable in their history. Now, as we move away from this mask and move closer to the Aka elephant mask, and this is made by the Bam elite people, excuse my pronunciation, and they were also in Cameroon. The materials are cloth and glass beads, and we believe they used a depiction of an elephant because the elephant was used to represent strength and leadership, two qualities very important for a leader. Now, this mask was worn by the elite of the culture and a societal group that were the only men that could speak to the king at the time. Now, in both masks, they were both used as performing pieces. In the performance, they would put on the mask, and both, again, would use them in different dance, like a masquerade type mask. And each culture used this mask as a way to show their dance moves in a very purposeful way. For example, like each movement can represent different things. Like while this might mean water, this could mean something else completely different. And another thing about this mask is they were combined with a tunic. Now they will put a tunic on as long as like a netted face on themselves to further just encompass the depiction of the mask they use. Also, another thing about this mask, they both use a very unique style patterns, as you can see. And in the African culture, especially in the Cameroon grasslands where both these masks were made, each different pattern was used to tell a story. So each different way they put the beads on the mask is very purposeful acts. Because if they put the beads in different colors, it can mean a completely different story than just putting the beads in all white or in all blue or all black. Now, some of the differences of the mask can range from great into small. Like a big difference of the mask is the crescent helmet mask could be worn by both genders. whereas the elephant mask could only be worn by the male gender. Now, this shows that as time went on in the Cambrian period, women had a more predominant role in society. Because in the beginning of the elephant mask, only the men could wear this. Only the men were shown to be included in this ceremonial performance. Only the men could show the children different things as they taught the children in performance dances. But again, as time went on, women were able to put on the mask themselves, perform the dances, and become more a part of the society and have a bigger role in society instead of just childbirth. Now, another thing I want to bring up about both masks is the difference of the European influence. Although both masks have the European influence as shown in the use of beads, and beads at this time period could only be attained from trade through the Europeans, this particular mask, the crescent helmet mask, from the round nose, you can tell as more of a European influence as it has attributes of a European face and an African face. Whereas the elephant mask, as I move in closer, you can see has a longer nose, which will only be for an African mask. But they both clearly still show a different form of how they style the mouth and the eyes, as well as how they clearly make the ears predominant. But as I pull this picture up, you can also clearly see the coiffure. And as time went on in African society, it's been shown again how the coiffure has been shown to show more importance in society and more importance to the person who has a coiffure on. Now, as I finish this, I would like to credit the National Museum of African Art, which is where I got most of my information for the crescent helmet mask. And I would like to thank you all for listening.